If you are someone that waits until tax season to prepare your financials, this is for you, and you may want to watch this video twice. What's up, creatives? If you're new to this channel, my name's Evan, and I help creative professionals navigate the world of accounting and finance. As a disclaimer, the information found in this video is purely that, informational. I always recommend still consulting your individual CPA because your situation may be different. Also, I'm in no way sponsored by any of the companies I'm going to discuss, and any of the referral codes that are going to be included in the description are available to every customer that subscribes to their products. In this video, we're going to cover accounting workflows for creative professionals. Overall, your accounting workflow should work seamlessly with your business and should not in any way create a barrier to booking clients. Also, as a blanket statement, I know that all of you are busy and you've got a lot to worry about that does not deal with accounting and finance. So you need something that works for you and works on the go. So let's talk about my recommendation broadly. I believe that there are two systems that you need to have in place for your business: an accounting platform and then a platform to help you manage your clients. I'm also saying platform here because I think if I were to say software, that might be confusing. And in a lot of cases, most things are on the cloud. So if I say software at some point, you know what I mean? It's more likely a website. So let's dig into accounting software. I hear all the time that people are managing all of this through spreadsheets. Even as somebody that's very savvy in spreadsheets and Excel, I do not recommend this. At the end of the day, you don't really have any controls around data deletion. This doesn't set your business up for automation, which is where you're really going to save time. Now, don't get me wrong, spreadsheets certainly have a place in every business, but it's not for managing your financials. Plus, creatives are constantly on the go. I hate managing a spreadsheet from my cell phone, and that's really where you're going to run into problems in terms of overwriting information, deleting things. It's just not a good idea. So what's the alternative to spreadsheets? I personally use QuickBooks, and I found that the system works well, the app's awesome. Really, at the end of the day, the true test is my wife, who's not a CPA, and she likes using QuickBooks. One of the major pieces to me recommending accounting software is the fact that it is scalable. So as your business grows, which is at the end of the day, the goal, you can use this software to pay employees. If sales tax is something that applies to you, you can track that here as well. And there are tons of other benefits as well. As a side note, I will be talking about QuickBooks here, but you can easily replace this name with any accounting software. So while we're talking about accounting software, let's talk about tracking expenses. One of the coolest things about QuickBooks that I like is if you have a separate business checking account, you can link that up to QuickBooks so that it's automatically seeing all these transactions come through. And then it's going to pop up in your queue on QuickBooks for you to categorize, which there is handling all the recording of your transactions. From there, all you really need to do is maintain a copy of your receipts. Normally what I do is I snap a picture as I go, and then as I'm categorizing these transactions, I'm attaching the image in QuickBooks to the various expenses. If you don't have a separate business checking account, that's okay. You can log individual expenses in the app or on the website. When you're in QuickBooks and you're categorizing your transactions, you're going to want to do your best to put these in the appropriate category. But let's say you don't know where something goes. That's fine. There's actually a category in there that says Ask My Accountant. This is the best place if you're really unsure about something. You can put it in there, and then at the end of the year, you can talk to your accountant or tax professional about where that should go. At the end of the day, it's a great idea to stay organized because people that are going to be preparing your taxes, if you're not doing it yourself, are going to charge you more if you're not organized, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done at the end of the year before they even prepare your taxes. As an added bonus to working this way in QuickBooks and having everything linked up to your checking account, you're looking at each individual transaction that comes through. This is an excellent way to catch any errors in transactions, as well as you're going to catch fraud really early on if you're looking at this on a daily basis. Now, this part here may get a little confusing, but bear with me. Also, I'll be creating a video that's going to cover this in more detail. Calling all outflows of cash an expense is not necessarily accurate. In general, if something has less than 1 year of useful life, it's considered an expense. If something is utilized for more than a year, it's considered a capital expenditure and will need to be depreciated. An example of this would be, we've had a lot of requests for smoke bombs in photos and videos. Clearly, a smoke bomb is not going to last for more than a year. In fact, it's probably going to last for 1 minute. That is an expense. Now, let's take, for example, and I know this is going to hit it home because there's been so many cameras to come out, but take, for example, that new camera that you bought. That is a capital expenditure, and you're not going to recognize all of that money that you spent as an expense in 1 year. What you're going to do is you're going to set that amount up in your accounting software, and that's going to be depreciated over time, or in other words, you're going to recognize a certain amount of expense every year for a period of time. A little more complicated than I presented here, and like I said before, a video will be coming on that one. What I would recommend for the time being is when you come across this, park that in the Ask My Accountant category in QuickBooks or your accounting software. Then from there, you've easily got this ready to go and you can talk to your tax professional about that. I know this is pretty brief and broad in terms of recording expenses, but I did want to go over that and just how that would look if you were to implement a system. I will have future videos on this covering this in more detail on the specifics of recording expenses. Now that we've covered a little bit about expenses, let's hop over and talk about income, the most exciting part. Income is clearly driven by the clients that you have. Therefore, for the most part for creatives, that portion is going to be integrated with whatever system you're using to manage your clients. In my case, what I found that works really well for me is HoneyBook. I love the automations that I can set up in terms of when people inquire, I have it send them an automated email that will then set up a call to talk more about what they're looking for. Also, before I was using QuickBooks just as my accounting system and then various apps for managing inquiries and sending contracts. I did not like how that looked on the client side when I'd send them an email that said, go here to sign your contract, go here to pay your invoice. I wanted that all in one. And this is going to apply for most other platforms as well outside of HoneyBook, but I just want a seamless experience when I'm booking a client. You don't want to create any barriers there. But overall, one of my favorite features about HoneyBook is it does directly integrate with QuickBooks. Therefore, when I send a client an invoice and they make a payment, that's automatically recorded in QuickBooks, so I don't really have to worry about that piece. At the end of the year, I am verifying that information, but all of that's automated and my accounting records from an income perspective are correct. Another huge benefit of HoneyBook is I've never really liked the invoicing side of QuickBooks because as creative professionals, a lot of times we're collecting a deposit and then on a set due date, we're collecting the rest of the contract amount. HoneyBook works pretty seamlessly with that aspect in that you can set up due dates for various payments, and then it's going to automatically remind the client, and once they pay, it's going to record that transaction in QuickBooks. Now that we've briefly covered recording income and expenses, this all kind of wraps it up into the end of the year. When you're going to export this information from QuickBooks and you're going to provide that to your tax professional, or you're going to prepare that yourself. QuickBooks does a good job at integrating with most tax prep software, including TurboTax and TaxAct. As a side note on this, if you do end up hiring an accountant, QuickBooks does allow you to give your accountant access, so they're able to review your transactions, make adjustments as necessary, and get those records ready for tax preparation. So we broadly covered the two systems that I recommend putting in place and what that would look like in terms of recording expenses and transactions. I recommend starting this even at an early stage in your business because your transactions are probably less, and it's going to require less workflow changes. Like I mentioned before, this is going to be the first of many videos along this series. I'd love to hear in the comments what you guys are looking for and how I can help. And to keep these videos going and support this channel, I really appreciate a like and subscribe. Until next time.